I've posted a number of videos lately about multinational companies moving their production out of China. And there's been a lot of skepticism in some of the comments about companies not being able to do this in a short period of time, let's say a year or less than a year, or maybe just a few years. Depending on what the company's manufacturing has a lot to do with it. So there are personal care companies that can move their supply chains relatively quickly within less than a year. And today I've got a story about Shark Ninja, consumer products company. They make vacuum cleaners, various home appliances, blenders, kitchen appliances, that type of thing. And I think they make some personal care appliances as well. They are moving all of their production out of China by the end of the year, and they'll have most of it out of China by the end of the second quarter. Then, in addition to Shark Ninja, Colgate, Palmolive, and Clorox are also moving out of China. So let's see what some of these companies are doing. So starting with Shark Ninja, all this information came from their first quarter earnings call, which was on May 8th, and that includes the information about them moving out of China. Now, just to give you some of their financials so you can get an idea of the size of the company, what their sales are. Their net sales increased 14.7% to $1,222.6 million for the first quarter over 2024. So almost a 15% increase in sales top line. Then when it comes to net income, that was an increase of 7.5% to 117 million. Now the adjusted EBITDA decreased 13.1% to 200 million, or 16.4% of net sales. So their EBITDA was down. That may well be related to them moving out of China. They don't give any color on that right here, but overall, the company's doing very well. Now let's look at some of the other details. So Shark Ninja actually began moving some of their operations out of China following the tariffs imposed by the first Trump administration in 2018. They've shifted manufacturing operations to countries such as Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And a quote here, due to our proactive supplier expansion, we expect to have moved roughly 90% of our U.S. volume outside China by the end of the second quarter of 2025, and all of their production out of China by the end of 2025. This comes from Mark Barocas, their CEO, on the May 8th earnings call. So there you have it, directly from the CEO's mouth. Now, they're a fairly large company, and they have had this in motion starting in 2018, but they've obviously sped things up quite a bit, and they'll be out entirely by the end of the year. Now let's look at two other big companies, Clorox and Colgate-Palmolive. Their competitor, Procter & Gamble, is taking a wait-and-see approach when it comes to the tariffs. Now, I really don't think that's a good idea because I don't see the tariffs changing in the next 3 years at a minimum. And these are personal care product companies and household product companies, and they're mostly chemicals, so they can move their supply chains relatively quickly because these chemicals and ingredients in their products are made all over the world. So then we have Colgate-Palmolive, which has been hit with $200 million in tariff costs, and they have short, medium, and long-term plans that include alternative sourcing and formula simplification. They've also been investing in the United States over the past few years, $2 billion in the U.S. supply chain since 2020. And a lot of this money has gone to their personal home care business with the opening of their Tonganoxie, Kansas City facility for pet food manufacturing. And that's going to increase their capacity for pet food. The facility looks like it's 365,000 square feet. The other thing is they've mentioned is that their overall U.S. capacity for manufacturing has increased by 40% in the last 5 years. So a lot of this has happened over the past few years because of the supply chain anxiety and woes, probably starting due to the 2018 tariffs, but also all the COVID difficulties. So then we have Clorox, another big home products company. They are facing a $100 million tariff bill for the next year, but they're working to avoid that by changing sourcing and potential reformulations. So a lot of these companies are just going to avoid these tariffs by changing sourcing and reformulating some of their products. So it's that easy for some of these companies to move on it. And I guess Clorox will be doing that over the next year. This information also came from their May 5th earnings call, their first quarter earnings call. So I just wanted to point out that a lot of these companies can be quite responsive when it comes to avoiding and minimizing these tariffs. Anyway, if you like this video, please give it a like. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, so please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.